Joining us now for more on this, Gus Ubaldi, airport and railroad engineering expert. Gus, we spoke to you yesterday. They had not at that time retrieved the event recorder from the engine. They do have that now. They're still looking for another one, and they'll get to it eventually. But what will they learn from that?
The event recorder is going to record almost everything that goes on with that train. It'll show you the throttle position, whether the throttle was engaged, the brake pipe pressure that activates the brakes, whether the brakes were applied, what the speed was. All those things, you can use those then to reconstruct what went on, how fast the train was stopping, how long it took to stop. It'll even tell you if he was ringing the bell or blowing the horn.
The human factor obviously is going to be a big question here. Authorities are going to be interviewing the engineer today. Is there anything other than his own use of the throttle that would affect the speed that train is going when it comes up to the edge of the platform?
Not that I know of. You know, just like when you're driving, if you're approaching some place where you need to slow down, you'll take your foot off the gas. So he will put the throttle into idle, and then he will start applying the brakes. You know, if you look at an aerial photograph of the Hoboken terminal, there are mainline tracks that widen out into all the station platform tracks. So you're going through a number of crossovers and turnouts, and you know there's a speed restriction on those, and so you start asking yourself, if he was going so fast, would he not have derailed at that point? And maybe that's what he did. And even if he did apply the brakes, well, then there's nothing to stop against.
Well, one passenger who was on the train and noticed that they were pulling into the platform and hadn't slowed down said the train even seemed to accelerate as it was, you know, heading toward that crash. What does that tell you?
You know, one person's saying that it could be an impression, and again, if the train was on the ground, who knows? Maybe it was accelerating. I'm not that familiar with whether what the grade is there. I know it's parts of that station are below can be below sea level, and it'll flood on occasion. So it's hard to say what it is. The event recorder is going to give us the best information. It'll tell you if that train was speeding up or not.
There was apparently at the rear of a train this diesel locomotive, but the engineer doesn't sit in that rear locomotive. He sits in the front of the train and controls the locomotive through cables that run the length of the train. Certainly, you know, a disconnection, a short circuit, something like that could have caused problems. Is that frequently an issue in incidents like this?
No, usually these things are fail-safe. If that, for example, I think I may have mentioned the braking system yesterday. Unlike your automobile, if you cut the line and the fluid runs out, you have no brakes. Here, the fluid is air, and if it brakes and the fluid, meaning the air, runs out, the brakes automatically set. So if it's not getting a command, it should not be simply responding and thinking that I'm not going to work. And he still has the ability to dump the air and put it into emergency.
So many questions yet to be investigated. Gus Ubaldi.
Exactly.
We appreciate your insights. Thank you.
Same here.
Yeah, the bottom line being either the brakes failed to work or the engineer failed to activate the brake for some reason.
Yeah, they'll know more, obviously, when they get both of those event recorders, and they'll have a pretty clear idea of what happened. But right now, so strange and so sad.
Yeah, very.